Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I would like to discuss the five greatest Shakespearean characters in all of Shakespeare, in my opinion. Um, we'll discuss what makes a great character, some points on what makes a great character. Then we'll discuss the five greatest characters, again, in my opinion, and just briefly describe why they are part or why they are the five greatest characters. Okay, so the question, what makes a great character? I think the first point is a great character represents many different aspects of personality or has many different personality characteristics, which then, of course, represents more and more of humanity, is more reflective of humanity. And I think this is part of the reason why acting Shakespeare is so difficult. It's not only the language uh, and making the language sound natural, but it's imbibing these various qualities, qualities of personality and being truthful and honest. So it takes, great actors, great actresses to pull these characters off truthfully. The second point, what makes a great character, I think that they can be interpreted on many levels. So they can be interpreted as reflective of a human being, obviously, but they can also be interpreted as an allegorical concept or idea. They represent something more than just a human being, or they represent, again, an idea or a quality. They encapsulate that, an idea or quality. The third point of what makes a great character, vitality, life. All of the characters that I'm going to talk about, they are all alive. Some people have even written about them as being almost real persons, people you can identify with, relate to on some level. So again, a sense of great vitality, of great life in these characters, somewhat of a reality to them. The fourth point would be they have the greatest lessons for us to learn as readers, studying their character arcs, studying their qualities. We can learn about ourselves. We can learn to become better human beings, having read their story. So I think those are the points that make a great character. Okay. Many aspects or facets to their personality. They can be interpreted on more than one level. They have life, vitality, and they have the greatest lessons for us to learn as human beings. Okay, so on to the list. So number 5, I have King Lear. So as compared to the other characters, I don't think, and the reason I have him down at 5, although he is perhaps the central character in the greatest play ever written, he's not as finely etched as a character, I don't think, as the other 4. So, but he may have the greatest character arc and the most relevant character arc for us to learn or understand, um, more than the other 4, although the other 4 are relevant as well. King Lear's, might be the most relevant. And essentially, his character arc is going from someone completely identified with ego and then becoming completely identified with soul through the process of suffering. So that's why I have him at 5. I think he has the greatest character arc, but as an individual personality, he's not quite finally as etched as the other 4, in my opinion. So at number 5, we have King Lear. Number 4, I have Cleopatra from Antony and Cleopatra, obviously. She is widely considered the greatest female character written by Shakespeare. Again, it's because of her multiplicity, her variability, again, the many different aspects of her personality. Some have said she's not only the greatest female character, but she's representative or can be allegorically looked at as either femininity itself. This goes into the Jungian concept of the anima, and it also she can also be representative of nature herself, as I think some other female characters can be looked at that way as well, but that perhaps Cleopatra is the greatest representation of all of those things encapsulated in one person, in one character. She's obviously also very alive. You know, she wants to live life. She wants to experience life. She wants to live life. So again, that's part of her greatness. I think for some characters, their greatness lies in what other characters say about you. And I think as far as Cleopatra concerned is concerned, her she may owe her greatness more so than the other characters as far as what other people say about her. Enobarbus has a great description of her. What she is, a description of her as she's sailing down. She's sailing down a barge, on a barge down the Nile River. So I think that that adds to Cleopatra's greatness. She is also a part of, along with Romeo and Juliet, perhaps the greatest love story in literature. And what is the quality of that love? I think that's a question Shakespeare poses to us. Is Cleopatra and Mark Antony's love, is it rooted in selfishness? Is it a selfish kind of love? Is it more of a divine love, a true love? Or does it evolve over time from a selfish love to a more uh, honest love, a more divine love over time? And does that love take place? Does that evolution take place too late? I think these are questions that the Shakespeare writer poses to us. Okay? So at number 4, I have Cleopatra. Number 3 comes from Henry the Fourth, and it is Shakespeare's greatest comic character, hands down, and that is Falstaff. Falstaff is, again, Shakespeare's greatest comic character, his most witty character, uh, alongside a character I'm going to mention. Perhaps it's he is the most inventive, creative character. He has the greatest sense of play um, of any character, I think. He also is, I think, representative of just life as being, just enjoying life to enjoy life, not being something in life, not going after something in life, but just being. He is representative of that. Um, but like all the other characters, he is mixed with. He's not purely jolly. He's not purely a comic or a comic character. He is also a villain on some level. Some Shakespeare writers have commented kind of on his moral degradation. He doesn't treat others well. He is a rather selfish person, but at the same time, uh, and again, this is kind of like Cleopatra. A character mentions wherever he is. I guess whether that be heaven or hell, I want to be there next to him. And I don't know if that's Pistol or Bardolph or who, I can't remember, but one of the more minor characters says that of Falstaff. And I think the hostess who he has treated meanly throughout the plays, Henry the Fourth, Part One and Part Two, also really mourns his death. She really suffers because of his death. Um, but again, yeah, Falstaff can be looked at as the incarnation of wit, but he can also be just looked at as a great wit as a human being. I think that's for us to decide. Obviously, I think Shakespeare is, again, kind of blurring boundaries. Is Falstaff, um, representative of some sort of allegorical concept, or is he merely a human being who possesses great qualities? And so, on some level, he is the most alive character of Shakespeare, the greatest vitality. Okay, number two, I have the greatest villain in literature. Some may object to that, especially after reading Blood Meridian and encountering Judge Holden in that book. But Judge Holden may be, as others have commented, he may be more representative of some sort of incarnation of evil, some greater concept of evil, rather than a human being. And it's my opinion that Iago is very much a human being. Uh, oth- uh, yeah, and that he is motivated very much by his ego, and of course, over time he devolves more and more into the demonic, which all human beings have the uh, capacity and capability of doing. So Iago is Shakespeare's greatest villain. He is uh, purely Machiavellian. He he goes after revenge in a way because he feels he is slighted. Um, he creates chaos. He creates suffering by any means necessary, and by whatever cost he deems necessary, including which includes killing others and manipulating others. And he eventually kills his own wife in the play. But again, he is mixed with some perhaps positive qualities, but he uses all those qualities for nefarious ends. So he is very perceptive. He can, much like the next character I'm going to speak about, he can perceive very well. He is also intelligent. Um, he is, on some level, a great psychologist. So he knows how to pull again and manipulate others, and he always does it to meet his own ends. Shakespeare also, though, does put truths in the mouth of Iago. He does express truths that, if reflected upon, meditated upon, is beneficial for us as readers. But again, Iago is very much out for his own ego. He's very much selfish. He's very much, again, a villain. He doesn't care what suffering he causes, to who uh, to whom he creates that suffering, and he wants what he wants, again, at any by any means necessary that he deems necessary. Okay, so Iago is number two. Again, definitely Shakespeare's greatest villain, perhaps the greatest human villain in all of literature. Okay, so the number one, the greatest character in Shakespeare. Most of you have probably guessed it. In my opinion, the greatest, and I think in the opinion of many, Hamlet. Hamlet is the greatest character ever written by Shakespeare. Again, like I've mentioned with the other characters, he has many aspects to his personality. He's very intelligent. He can be caring, although he can also be very cold and aloof. Like Iago, he can commit acts for satisfying his own ends, what he's after, which again is essentially killing Claudius after having learned from the ghost of his father, that King Hamlet's father, was murdered by Claudius. Like Iago, he is very perceptive. He can see past the facade, the masks of things, into what's really going on. He has an instance with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, and he knows immediately that they're after something. He says, "Do you think I'm a pipe that can be played on?" You know, and essentially, "No, I'm not. I see through what you're doing." Some Shakespearean writers have said if you put Hamlet in Othello, there would be no play because Hamlet would perceive what Iago is up to immediately. He's that perceptive, he's that intelligent. So again, a weakness of Hamlet is perhaps his feeling nature. That because of revenge, his feeling nature has become cold. He like Iago, uses his intelligence, uses his perceptivity, if that's a word, for accomplishing his own ends. Okay. But he does have uh, he has a good relationship with Horatio. Um, and there are definitely positive aspects to Hamlet. And Hamlet is also an artist when when the uh, when the players who will put on the mousetrap, the play, during that section, he is very much alive, and Hamlet, you can feel Hamlet is most has his greatest vitality in that scene. And he even treats, as some have remarked, he even treats Polonius well in that scene. There's some sort of warmth he exhibits towards Polonius, uh, whom he absolutely hates. And like I mentioned in my Hamlet video, he's also at a calmness after he's come back from being on the high seas. So for my Baconian listeners, there's a reason for that, and I'll just leave it at that. So again, artistry. Hamlet is an artist. He's more of an artist than a soldier. Um, war is in the background of Hamlet, as war is either prominent or in the background of all five of these plays. And again, there's a reason for that, which I have mentioned in other videos. I won't discuss that in this video. So I think I'll end it there. So again, the five greatest characters. I have King Lear, Cleopatra, Falstaff, Iago, and the greatest character, perhaps in all of literature, definitely Shakespeare, Hamlet. Let me know what you think. Who are your five greatest characters in Shakespeare? Please list that below. Also, maybe with a little comment of why you think that is. Also, please like and subscribe. Again, that greatly helps out the channel, helps the channel grow. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Bye.